Hello and welcome back to today's yoga question. We're joined by Rachel Yellen. Hi.
Hi.
So give us a two-sentence snapshot view of your bio.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Pop quiz.
I've been doing birth-related work for over 15 years, and I was a doula for a long time. I currently have childbirth education and birth techniques programs. I do a lot of transformational work around the process of getting pregnant, being pregnant, birthing, and heading into parenting. And then I do a lot of other things in terms of, I'm a therapist in the depth hypnosis model, and I make audio relaxation recordings. But generally everything that I do is centered. I've been a yoga teacher for 20 years, but everything that I do is really centered around having a more joyful life and being more of who you were born to be.
Right.
That's what I do.
Which is exactly the question at hand. I wanted to talk to you right now about yoga for fertility. In that, when we think about yoga for fertility, when you think about yoga for fertility, how do you think about inversions? And, there's always been the thing I learned from the Iyengar system, from my mom, like just don't invert on your moon days, period. But I always thought that was kind of like a funny rule that sounded like it was invented by a man, because the moon days have a gradient. Like there's not really a start and a stop button. Like it's got, so I was always like, okay, but which day? Like, so I always have been trying to wiggle because I love inversions. Sometimes I crave them even day 2 or 3 of my period as it's starting to taper down. So how do you view yoga for fertility in terms of the cycle and apana? What do you think about?
Right. So, depends, 3 or 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, right? You have when your menstrual cycle, you have the follicular phase, you have ovulation, and then you have the luteal phase. And if you think about it, depends what your intentions are. It's different. If you're trying to get pregnant, that's different than if you're just like kind of going along in your life. So I talk to people very differently about this. What I would say is that if a woman is trying to get pregnant, you really want to think about what builds your chi, what builds your energy system, what thickens the lining of the uterus, the endometrial wall, prior.
Okay, wait. This is so good.
What would create? What would it?
Wait, sorry, it's so good. I'm going to just pause your video again because we're having a little bit of connectivity stuff on your end. Okay, so you speak differently to women who are actively trying. So if someone's actively trying, the question is, what is going to thicken your uterine wall? That's where we lost you.
What you're going to thicken your uterine wall, what is going to encourage the body to release the most robust egg? So after you finish bleeding, right after your menstrual cycle, and for some women, they get their period for 1 day, and for some women, it's 5 days. So you have to trust and see how you feel during your period. But once your period is towards the end and goes away, you really want to think about increasing your energy. So that is the time where you're going to want to do poses that nourish the blood, and like things like, a half rabbit pose, right? You're on your knees with the crown of your head on the floor and you're drawing the belly in. So there's some toning there. You're wanting to do cat-cow. You're wanting to do sun salutes. You're wanting to do pigeon pose, malasana, baddha konasana, bridge pose,
right.
Lower back releasing, reclining twists, things like that. So it's much more about chi building, energy building. And then once you ovulate, right, so that's another phase of the cycle. Once you ovulate, and of course you're looking for fertile mucus. It's interesting about women who are trying to get pregnant. A lot of women are, using, an app and taking their temperature. One of the better way to do fertility and really to get increase your chances of getting pregnant sooner is to track the fertile mucus, and to use ovulation sticks and actually use pee on the stick, because that's far more accurate.
Right.
So those are the two things, because a lot of women will use the app and they're like, but I'm getting all this fertile mucus, days before. I'm actually in the next couple of days going to be inseminating a friend of mine. who wants to get pregnant, and we're just going through this back and forth. She's like, but the kit says this and this says this, but my fertile mucus. It's like, so you want to have sex or inject the sperm every other day once the mucus starts. So you're not having sex 3 times a day because we want the sperm to be as robust and strong as possible, and for the man whose sperm it is to have the most chi in his body. And you can't have maximum sperm and strong sperm if you're, ejaculating every 2 or 3 times a day. So we say every other day. We would say every other day. And then after you have had the possibility of getting pregnant, you want to shift into much more restorative kinds of yoga, where we're looking at, meditation and visualization. You're looking at, sitting cross-legged doing body circles and seated wide angle Upavista Konasana with a bolster underneath your head, Baddha Konasana, reclining bound angle pose with a bolster behind you and the knees supported with your hands on your womb, breathing into the womb, because what we want is that fertilized egg to be attracted to the wall and to nuzzle into the wall and implant in the wall. Right, exactly. Smush, like yummy yum. And you want to think about what is a hospitable environment for that incoming soul. And it's not just egg, meat, sperm, fetus. You want to think about the incoming soul. What soul are you attracting? And you want the most loving environment, doing happy baby pose, legs up the wall, very mild, whereas mild inversion, a mild inversion to help that implantation. And of course we want the embryo to implant higher up in the uterus. That's great. So we want it's fine for it to implant anywhere, but we really want it to be a strong implantation. So you're looking at changing the quality of your practice, and then if at some point if you know that you're not pregnant, then you can change it change your practice accordingly. So I don't have any hard and fast rules about absolutely no inversions. It's right. What were you doing before? What's your yoga practice every day? What have you been doing? As I say, when you're trying to get pregnant and when you're actually pregnant, it's not time to introduce lots of new things that you've never done. Right. So if you have a regular inversion practice and it's like heaven, it creates joy and hospitality for your incoming child.
And by all means. Oh, I love it. Let me turn on your video.
Sticky. Then you can change it up.
Mm-hmm. So Rachel, this is so fantastic. This is exactly what I wanted to know. And I really like thinking of it as these phases. I of course had heard of those phases before, but really tracking the practice based on those phases, I think is really insightful. And all the poses that you mentioned make sense in terms of building chi and then restorative, making a hospitable environment. Those are great ideas for us. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. My pleasure.
Okay, tell us where we can find you. I'm going to put all your links below. Tell us where we can find you online.
You can find me easily at yes2birth.com or rachelyellin.com. And my last name is Yellin.
Yes to birth.
Yes to birth.
Okay, so subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on your notifications. That would be wonderful. I'm sending you a big namaste, Rachel, across the skies. Thank you so much.
Same. Thank you. Mwah.